This video is a continuation of my thoughts on Quentin Tarantino films. So I did Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 in my other two films there. All good. And I'm going to continue in the chronological order based on the films when they were released. So Reservoir Dogs 92, Pulp Fiction 94, Jackie Brown 97, Kill Bill Volume 1 2003, and then Kill Bill Volume 2 Volume 4. Oh shoot, you know what? Before I talk about Django, which I will do, another good one of his, and I really do like Jamie Foxx, great as Electro Spider-Man, and I really don't know much of his other work, but I like him in this also. I completely forgot about Death Proof, which is a part of another film. It's like a double feature film that pays homage to the double feature B films that were released back in the 70s, the Grindhouse films. I think it. Okay, so there's Planet Terror, which is by Eli Roth, and there's Death Proof by Quentin Tarantino. And there's some good trailers in there. Thanksgiving is one, which actually it's weird because there's a film called Thanksgiving, which was made I think after this, that has the same sort of style to that type of film, sort of a 70s grindhouse horror slasher film. That was actually made by someone who filmed it at my former college, Denison University. So if you ever get a chance to look up the Thanksgiving series, I don't think Eli Roth ever actually made Thanksgiving, but if you look up Thanksgiving, that was made at my parts of it were made at my college, Denison in Granville, Ohio. Yeah, so just to mention that there, but I'm gonna look up. I think it's called Grindhouse. Yeah, that okay. I remember that. So Grindhouse is the name of the two films combined, Death Proof and Planet Terror. You have some good faux trailers in between the two movies there to make it seem more like a 70s Grindhouse film. But yeah, Quentin only gets half credit for this one, but he still does a really good job with Death Proof here. Um, so Kurt Russell is the actor in this. He plays the killer stunt driver, and not killer as the adjective, as in killer moves, but an actual killer who ends up um, killing women with his stunt car, or females, I guess I should state would be the more correct term. Younger females. He just gets a thrill out of killing them. That's sort of what uh, gives him an adrenaline rush, I guess, would be the best way I could describe it. An extreme and evil one. So he's the killer in this. Um, but yeah, he is the. I think his name is stunt driver Mike. From what I can remember there. Um, I am like 99% certain that's his name. But yeah, stunt driver Mike, Kurt Russell's character, he basically just seduces women. He gets them to enter his car, and then because he's a stunt driver, he'll know how to survive the crash. He has I guess, a proper safety harness that protects him, um, whereas the passenger does not. And he basically just crashes his car and causes these females in his passenger seat to fly through the window. There's a very gory and disturbing but interesting special effect, which shows the one of the females that he kills, I think it's I think yeah, I think this is the only one they show, but they show her flying out of the window, and then as she flies out of the window, um, her face goes past a car tire, which I can't remember how exactly this works, but her face flies as she's flying through the air, flies past a car tire, which somehow is also in the air and is also spinning. I don't know how that happened. I'll have to rewatch that scene. But her face grinds against that car tire and is ripped off by the car tire, and it's a um, close up of that action happening. So she shot out of the car, and then you see her face get ground off by that spinning tire, which is I thought was really cool at the time. It's more disturbing now and gory to me now, but still a really very well done shot and a really cool scene overall. Um, so yeah, Death Proof is very good. I'll go a bit more into the plot here. So you have Stuntman Mike. His thrill is killing people with his car, which he crashes in unique ways, and he's able to protect himself with that special harness there. Um, Django and I'm sorry, Death Proof continues by gulking at some younger females who they're a group of friends who are talking to each other one day. They're just talking about something. I don't remember what. But they end up going to that bar where Mike hangs out to seduce the women and get them into his car. Um, they end up actually because I know one of them is a stunt driver. The Australian one there, who's an actual stunt person in real life. I have to find out about that. I don't remember if she's a stunt man, plays a stunt person in the film too, but I'll have to check on that. I'm just going to check on the plot here. But they go to that bar. They meet Mike. They speak with him. They talk with him a bit. Quentin Tarantino's in that scene also. He acts in that scene. Talks about the chartreuse drink in that scene. Um, okay, yeah. So that first scene I told you about, that's where they first show how he kills his victims. Um, okay, so here. Oh, and Mike doesn't get caught because okay, so Sheriff McGraw believes Mike killed the women intentionally, but because Mike was sober while the women were intoxicated, he cannot be charged. So there is a sheriff who is suspicious of Mike, but because Mike doesn't drink at the bar, he just eats nachos with cheese on them. Um, while he gets the women intoxicated, he cannot be charged. So, uh, that's interesting. Hmm. So yeah, and it's called Death Proof because his car is death proof. It's a roll cage car, and again, this is all from Wikipedia that I'm reading from here. Okay, so the first death that they show, it says he just kills her by having her smash her skull into the dashboard, killing her. Um, so here, I'm gonna read some more of the plot here because I'm a bit confused about the first kills that are actually shown here. Um, so he seduces some women in this bar, something like here, and then some extra that because to give him a lap dance, blah blah blah. Okay, so he seduces this woman. Okay, so Mike ends up taking this woman Pam into his car. He tells her that the car is death proof as it's a stunt car or a roll cage car, um, but only for the driver. So that's where he mentions that. Ends up killing her by smashing her skull onto the dashboard by braking quickly. He catches up with some other of her friends in their car, driving at high speed, killing them. Mike survives with no serious injuries. So that must be the part where I saw that cut, not cut, shot where the woman's face goes against the tire. That must be that part. So I was a bit confused because when I was reading the part where he speeds and slams on the brake, smashing Spam's call on the dashboard, killing her, I thought that was it. But there is more. Catches up with some other women in their car and drives into it at high speed, killing them. So that must be where the shot I explained came from. Okay, so anyway, I'll explain a bit more of the plot here. I want to be a little more accurate about it, though. Essentially, what happens is these other women, I think it's four women, they go to the bar where Mike is, and they end up actually not being killed by Mike. They take action against him while they're doing this, and they end up humiliating him and beating him to death. And that last part is from Wikipedia, but I remember them killing him. So this is 14 months later after the first killings that I mentioned. These are okay. Three young women. So maybe it's not four. Maybe it's three women. No, it is four because they pick up stunt woman Zoe Bell. Okay, so that's what I'm confused about. I'm assuming that she's. I know she's a stunt man or stunt person in real life. I don't know if she's a stunt person in the film though. I'm assuming that. So I'm going to assume that for now. Mike is stalking them apparently while they are picking up their friend, who's also a stunt woman or person from the airport. So Mike seems to be watching them right now. Uh, hmm. Okay, so Zoe plays this game called Ship's Mess, whereby she rides on the hood. Okay, so Zoe tells Abernathy and Kim that she wants to play a game they call Ship's Mast, where she rides the hood, holding belts fastened to the car while Kim drives at speed. Kim is hesitant but agrees. So they play this game where the stunt woman or stunt person hangs onto the hood there, their friend Zoe. Kim is hesitant but agrees. I think that's her saying it. Yeah, Zoe Bell does play herself in the film, so she is a stunt man or stunt person there. Um, okay, so the three enjoy the stunt, unaware that Mike is watching them. So I thought they went to the bar and met Mike. That is not true. What happens is three friends are there. They're driving through Tennessee. They stop at a convenience store where Mike watches them from his car. And this is paraphrasing from Wikipedia here. The women pick up their friend, stuntwoman Zoe Bell, from the airport while Mike photographs them unawares. Zoe tells them that she wants to test drive a 1970 Dodge Challenger, the same type of car from the 1971 film Vanishing Point. Some more homage to, I'm guessing, a Grindhouse film from the 70s. For sale nearby. The owner lets them test drive it unsupervised after Abernathy tells him Lee is a porn star and will stay behind. Okay, so I do remember that part. They yeah, okay, so they do test drive the car, um, but the owner only lets them drive it unsupervised because one of the friends sort of screws her other friend over and says that she is a porn star and will stay behind. And it is inferred that the owner there of the car is going to um, persuade Lee, their friend there, to give him fellatio. But anyway, so I do feel kind of bad for Lee there. That kind of is mean of their friends to do that to her. Um, okay, so they drive this car around. Just there's some moral ambiguity there for these females here. Zoe tells Abernathy and Kim, those other two females there, that she wants to play a game they call Ship's Mast, whereby she rides the hood. Okay, so holding belts fast in the car while Kim drives at speed. Kim is hesitant but agrees. The three enjoy the stunt, unaware that Mike is watching them. Mike rear ends them in his car, causing Zoe to accidentally drop one of her and Abernathy's belts, which are being used to hold them or her to the vehicle while she's on the hood there. After several more collisions, he T-bones them, so that's from the side, and then throwing Zoe from the hood, Kim shoots Mike's left shoulder, and he flees in his car. Okay, so after several more collisions, he T-bones them, throwing Zoe from the hood. Kim shoots. I didn't know Kim had a gun, but Kim has a gun, shoots Mike's left shoulder, and he flees in his car. So they wound him a bit. Abernathy and Kim cry over the loss of their friend until Zoe emerges uninjured. Okay, so they think Zoe's dead, but then she pops back up and is okay. The three agree to catch up to Mike and kill him. Mike has stopped in a narrow road to treat his wound with whiskey. The women rear end him at speed. Zoe gets out and beats him with a pipe, but he resists and drives off again. After a long chase, the women push Mike's car off the road. They drag him from the wreckage and beat him to death. So I don't know if this is necessarily a good film for female empowerment there, but I mean, the females in the film are not the nicest females, or not the most well-behaved females. But I mean, obviously a lot better than Mike. So interesting. Good film, Death Proof. I really do like that film. All the actresses are really good in it. I do remember now that Zoe Bell does play herself after reading that, so I did question that a bit there. But that's another really good one by Tarantino. A bit shorter than his other films, but that's due to that being in the double feature format there in the Grindhouse film. Okay, so that's Death Proof there. I'm going to move on to Django Unchained now. Again, Death Proof is very good. Uh, watch it if you have not seen it already. So Django Unchained here. I've only seen this once. I remember it being good. I'm just going to look at the plot here, and just so. All right, let's see. Django, played by Jamie Foxx, and again, Django is a character in Zorro, and there is that Zorro connection there, which I didn't know of. Django is sold off and separated from his wife, a house slave who speaks German and English. Django is also a slave. They are stopped by Dr. King Schultz, a German dentist turned bounty hunter, seeking to buy Django for his knowledge of the three outlaw Brittle brothers, overseers at the plantation of Django's previous owner, and for whom Schultz has a warrant. When Ace refuses to sell Django to Schultz and cocks his gun, Schultz kills him and shoots Dickie's horse in order to pin him to the ground. He advises the freed slaves to take the opportunity for revenge. Schultz offers Django his freedom and $75 in exchange for help tracking down the Brittles. And I'm actually doing this a bit out of order. I should have mentioned Inglourious Basterds first, as Inglourious Basterds came out before this in 2008. This film came from 2012, or debuted in 2012. So I will do that there. I will just do that out of orders, but I will do Inglourious Basterds also if someone like myself here just realized that. So I apologize for that. So this is a bit out of order, but Django Unchained is also very good. There's a really long plot explanation here, so I don't want to go too much into this. So I'm going to scan this here, and then I will give my own synopsis if I can. Okay, so having told, I'm skipping ahead a bit here. Next morning, so, let's see here. I have to scan here. This is a very long plot description. Mm, 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 uh, hmm. Okay, so I'm just going to read this last paragraph here, and maybe I can discern what happened from this last paragraph. So, recovering Broomhilda's freedom papers from Schultz's corpse, Django bids his deceased mentor goodbye and avenges him and D'Artagnan by killing the trackers. He then frees Broomhilda just as Candy's mourners return from his burial. At the mansion, Django kills Lara, Crash, and the remaining henchmen, releasing the two remaining house slaves and kneecaps. Stephen, before igniting the dynamite he had planted throughout the mansion, Django and Broomhilda watch from a distance as the mansion explodes before riding off together. Okay. So yeah, I do remember this being a more complicated plot than his other films, having some trouble following it when I saw it in the theater with my father when it came out way back in 2012. Um, so from what I can discern, you have Django who's a slave, he has Broomhilda who's a slave. Something happens where Broomhilda is taken from Django, and I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think Django then ends up rescuing Broomhilda from these henchmen who take her away from him. That's a really simplistic explanation of the plot. That's a like super short synopsis of it that has a lot of holes in it, I'm assuming. So if you want to correct me on that and provide me a little more insight into what is going on, I'm looking at the Wikipedia plot explanation here. It is quite long, and I don't think I have the energy to read all of it now and create a video of that length right now. But it's still very good, and maybe I'll read this second paragraph here just to get some more info. The next morning, the chained Django is tortured and about to be castrated by overseer Billy Crash when Steven arrives. I'm assuming Steven is a bad guy because Django kneecaps him. Uh, hmm. So the next morning, the chained Django is tortured and about to be castrated by overseer Billy Crash when Stephen arrives, informing him that Candy's sister Lara, who has taken charge of the plantation, has ordered him to be sold to a mining company and worked to death. Okay. Oh man. Okay, so okay, so Django's now going to be. He's not going to be castrated. But he's going to be sold to a mining company and worked to death. So that's not much better there. En route there, or I don't know, is that better? I maybe. En route there, Django devises an escape plan and uses his first handbill to prove to his escorts that he is a bounty hunter. Uh, I see. Okay, so Django, I'm. I don't know if Django's actually a bounty hunter or he's just pretending to be. He falsely says the men on the handbill from okay, so it looks like he's faking this bounty hunter alias here. He falsely says the men on the handbill from his first bounty are at Candyland and promises the escorts a share of the reward money. I remember Leonardo DiCaprio being in this too. Yeah, I remember him being the head of Candyland, Calvin Candy there. Um, okay, so first bounty at Candyland and promises the escorts a share of the reward money. Once released, Django kills his escorts, gets his clothes and weapons back, and returns to Candyland with dynamite. Okay, so something happened at Candyland there. Okay, Candyland Plantation, where male slaves are forced to wrestle to the death in brutal Mandingo fights. I do remember that now there. So it seems like this is about Django just escaping by the skin of his teeth over and over again here, which is interesting. So he's using, at this point in the film, an alias as a bounty hunter. Um, so he says he's a bounty hunter. He falsely states that. He states that the men on the handbill from his first bounty are at Candyland, and this is how he gets out of this situation here, where he's about to be castrated and then sold to a mining company. That okay, so let's see. I don't know if he's going to be castrated and then sent to the mining company, or if they just decide to send him to the mining company. But anyway, he gets out of this situation by stating he's a bounty hunter, says that the rest of the bounty are at Candyland, and promises the escorts who are going to send him to this mining company that there's a share of the reward money. Well, once he gets that, he'll share it with these people who are taking him to the mining company. So a share of the reward money. Okay, so that's why he wants to go back to Candyland. So they release him, these people taking him to the mining company. Django kills them, gets his clothes and weapons back, and then goes back to Candyland, where Leonardo DiCaprio holds these Mandingo fights. Okay, so I guess I will go deeper into the plot here. So before this, let's see. So I'll just read the whole plot here. So he's a slave. Django is a slave, sold off and separated from his wife Broomhilda. They're stopped by Dr. King Schultz, a German dentist turned bounty hunter, seeking to buy Django for his knowledge of the three outlaw Brittle brothers. Okay, so there's this bounty hunter who wants to use Django for his knowledge for the location of these three Brittle brothers, who he wants to get for bounty money, this Schultz character. When Ace refuses to sell Django to Schultz and cocks his gun, Schultz kills him and shoots Dickie's horse in order to pin him to the ground. He advises the freed slaves to take the opportunity for revenge. Schultz offers Django his freedom and $70 in exchange for helping to track down the Brittles. Okay, so you have Django, who's a slave, separated from his wife Broomhilda, a house slave who speaks German and English. He's being okay. So this is 1858 Texas. Brothers Ace and Dickie Speck drive a group of shackled black slaves on foot. Among them is Django, sold off and separated from his wife Broomhilda von Schaft, a house slave who speaks German and English. They are stopped by this King Schultz bounty hunter character who wants Django for his information regarding the location of the Brickle brothers. The Speck brothers essentially say, "Screw you, we're not going to give you Django." So Schultz shoots the Speck brothers. Oh no, he kills and shoots Dickie's horse in order to pin him to the ground. Sorry. He advises the free slaves to take the opportunity for revenge. Schultz offers Django his freedom and $70 in exchange for helping down the Brittles. Okay, so he doesn't kill the Speck brothers, but he does kill their horse. Well, he shoots. Wait a minute. No, he does. Schultz kills him. Schultz kills Ace. But I don't know about Dickie. He shoots Dickie's horse in order to pin him to the ground. Okay, so he advises the free slaves to take the opportunity for revenge. Schultz offers Django his freedom and $75 in exchange for helping track down the Brittles. Okay, so Django's on this. I guess they're traveling on. They're not on foot. They have a carriage, I'm guessing. So a group. Yeah. Okay. So a group of shackled black slaves in a carriage. I'm assuming. So there's these two brothers, Ace and Dickie, who have these slaves, including Django. They encounter this German dentist slash bounty hunter who ends up killing Ace after he doesn't give him Django, who has some information regarding a bounty he's looking for. He shoots the other brother's horse to pin him to the ground, and then he gives him Django. Well, he offers Django his freedom and $75 in exchange for helping track down the Brittle brothers, which are his bounty. So Django and Schultz kill the Brittle brothers at Spencer Big Daddy Bennett's Tennessee plantation. In turn, Bennett pursues them with arms posse. Okay, so they go to this Bennett place where the Brittle brothers are. They kill the Brittle brothers, both Schultz and Django. Who plays Schultz here? Christoph Waltz. Don't. Okay, it seems like a good actor there. If I remember correctly. Just looking at an image of him there, but it was good, and from what I can remember. Okay, so they. All right, so Django's in the carriage, being carried by the Speck brothers. He's been separated from his wife. They encounter Schultz, the bounty hunter. Schultz wants Django for information regarding the Brickle brothers, who he has a bounty for and can get money for killing them. The Speck brothers do not want to give Django up. One of the brothers is killed by Schultz. The other brother's horse is killed. And then Schultz offers that deal to Django, offering his freedom and $75 in exchange for tracking down the Brittle brothers, who are the bounty Schultz is looking for. Okay, so they then both go, Django and Schultz go to the Bennett house where they kill the Brickle brothers. Bennett pursues them with an armed posse. Schultz ambushes the posse with explosive, and Django kills Bennett. Feeling responsible for Django, Schultz agrees to help him find and rescue Broomhilda. Okay, so they're going to find and rescue Broomhilda now. They return to Texas, where Django collects his first bounty, keeping the handbill as a memento and for good luck. Okay, so Django is kind of a bounty hunter now. He wasn't really faking it when he loses it later on, so he does have that bounty hunter status now. He and Schultz rack up several bounties before spring when they travel to Mississippi. Okay, so they're getting some more bounties now. So Django is a bounty hunter. Before spring, when they travel to Mississippi and learn that Broomhilda's new owner is a member of the American gentry, Kelvin J. Candy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, the charming but cruel owner of the Candyland plantation, where mouse slaves are forced to wrestle to death in brutal Mandingo fights. Okay, so that's Broomhilda's new owner. So they want to rescue Broomhilda now, and they know that Candy, DiCaprio's character, is the one who's housing her there, and he's the one holding those to the death Mandingo fights, which is incredibly cruel. So Schultz and Django hatch a plan, deciding that Candy will refuse to sell Broomhilda if they try to buy her up front. They will instead offer $12,000, equivalent to $406,000 in 2022, for one of his best fighters, as a pretext to acquiring Broomhilda for a nominal sum. Okay, so this is what Schultz and Django are attempting to do to rescue Broomhilda. They figure that Candy is not going to sell them Broomhilda if they try to just buy her from him. So they are going to offer them $12,000 for one of Candy's best fighters as a pretext to acquiring Broomhilda for a nominal sum. So I'm not sure how that works, but I'll read into it more here. They meet Candy at his gentleman's club. They meet Jandy, not Candy, not Jandy. Oh, Candy, sorry. They meet Candy at his gentleman's club and make the offer. Intrigued, Candy invites them to Candyland. En route, the group encounters Candy's slave trackers, who have cornered D'Artagnan, an escapee Mandingo fighter. Django is forced to intervene when Schultz foolishly attempts to buy D'Artagnan on the spot to save him. Okay, so they are trying to trick Candy. They are offering a sum of money to buy one of his best fighters. Somehow that's a way to get Broomhilda also. I don't know how that works exactly, so if someone can explain it to me, I'd appreciate it in the comments. If anybody's watching this, it might be just a video from me here, because I'm reading the plot from Wikipedia page. But anyway, so they meet Candy and his gentleman's club, and they make that offer of the $12,000 for his fighter. Intrigue, Candy invites them to Candyland. Okay, so they go to Candyland. En route, the group encounters Candy's slave trackers who have cornered D'Artagnan. Okay, so the group encounters Candy's slave trackers. So slave trackers now, who have cornered D'Artagnan, an escapee Mandingo fighter. Django is forced to intervene when Schultz foolishly attempts to buy D'Artagnan on the spot to save him. Okay, so I'm wondering why Django is intervening now. Because Schultz is attempting to save D'Artagnan here, so I don't know why Django's intervening here. Candy has the trackers guard dogs maul D'Artagnan to death, visibly upsetting Schultz. So I think Schultz just felt bad for D'Artagnan. Django tries to intervene, I guess. I don't know why that is. Maybe he knows something more about D'Artagnan than Schultz does. But D'Artagnan is killed by Candy. This upsets Schultz. Okay, so having told Broomhilda having told Broomhilda of their plan, Schultz offers to buy her offers to buy her as his escort wife. Okay, so having told Broomhilda of their plan, Schultz offers to buy Broomhilda as his escort wife, or his escort, while negotiating the initial Mandingo deal during dinner. Okay, so Schultz is going to buy Broomhilda, buy her as his escort, while negotiating the initial Mandingo deal during dinner. Okay, so that's how they're doing that there. So they're still going to buy one of the Mandingo fighters, but to get Broomhilda, Schultz is going to buy her as his escort. Okay, I understand that now there. Candy's staunchly loyal and suspicious head house slave, Stephen, okay, so that's who Stephen is, realizes that Broomhilda knows Django, deduces their plan, and alerts Candy. Okay, so Stephen is a snitch. Okay, so Stephen knows that Broomhilda knows Django. He deduces their plan and alerts Candy. Okay, so that's how that happened there. So he tells Candy about Django and Schultz's plan to get Broomhilda. Enraged, Candy alters the deal at gunpoint to sell Broomhilda for $12,000 instead of the fighter. Yeah, so that's actually a fair deal there. Schultz reluctantly agrees. So they were probably figuring that from the start there. They're figuring, well, if we try to buy just Broomhilda up front, he's not going to sell it to us. But if we offer to buy one of his fighters first, and then somehow something goes wrong, and somebody, who I think Django probably knew Steven also, so Django probably stated, well, Steven's going to snitch, so we might as well just state that we're going to buy one of his fighters. So then when Steve snitches and Candy gets ticked, maybe he'll just offer Broomhilda instead. I don't know if maybe not. I don't know. That's kind of a reach there, but maybe because that seems like kind of a fault in their plan there, because Steven realizes that Broomhilda knows Django, so I'm assuming that Django knows Steve, and maybe Django is wise enough to plan ahead for that. I don't know. Anyway, so enraged, Candy alters the deal at gunpoint. So now he's saying, okay, you can't have my fighter anymore. I found out your plan about the whole escort thing. So I'm going to sell you Broomhilda for $12,000 instead of the fighter. So Schultz reluctantly agrees. During the sales finalization, Candy threatens to kill Broomhilda if Schultz does not shake his hand to seal the deal. Okay, so Candy's going to kill Broomhilda if Schultz does not shake his hand to seal the deal. Having heard enough of Candy's arrogance, Schultz shoots and kills Candy. Butch Pooch, Candy's bodyguard, Kill Schultz. Okay, so yeah, Schultz kind of screwed up there. I would have just taken that deal if you want to get Broomhilda out of there. Anyway, so Schultz messes up. He kills Candy. Candy's bodyguard, Butch Pooch, kills Schultz, and Django then kills Pooch. Candy's lawyer, Leonide Mogi, or Mogai, Mogui. I'm guessing Mogai. And several of Candy's henchmen. Okay, so Candy's lawyer, Leonide Mogai, and several of Candy's henchmen. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I thought that was a period, not a comma there. So Django kills Pooch, Candy's lawyer, Leonide Mogai, and several of Candy's henchmen, but is forced to surrender when Broomhilda is taken hostage. Okay, so that stinks for Django there. The next morning, the chained Django is tortured and about to be castrated by overseer Billy Crash. When Steven arrives, that's that other slave that knows Django and Broomhilda are connected, informing him that Candy's sister Lara, who has taken charge of the plantation, has ordered Django to be sold to a mining company and worked to death. Okay, so I'm going to assume the worst and assume. Well, it says about to be castrated, so I guess they stop just before that and then just sell him to the mining company to be worked to death. So yikes, that sucks. Or stinks really badly there. En route to the mining company, Django devises an escape plan and uses his first handbill as a bounty hunter to prove to his escorts that he is in fact a bounty hunter. He falsely says the men on the handbill from his first bounty are at Candyland. Okay, so that's at the Bennett house. So he's saying that the people that he killed at the Bennett house, they're actually at Candyland, and is promising these people taking him to the mining company that if they take him back to Candyland, after he kills these people for the bounty, he'll get them a share of his reward money. Okay, so they release Django. Django kills them, these escorts to the mining company. So clever deception by Django there. He gets his clothes and weapons back and returns to Candyland with dynamite, which is probably found in the carriage, the escort's carriage. So Django got out of that one by the skin of his teeth there. Good, quick thinking from him. Recovering Broomhilda's freedom papers from Schultz's corpse, Django bids his deceased mentor goodbye and avenges him and D'Artagnan by killing the trackers. Okay, so there are trackers recovering Broomhilda's freedom papers from Schultz's corpse. So he goes to Schultz's corpse, gets Broomhilda's freedom papers, which Schultz must have got. Aha. Okay, so Candy did give Broomhilda over to Schultz in a way, but then during the final part of the sale, Candy threatened to kill Broomhilda if Schultz does not shake his hand to shield the deal. So I'm wondering maybe if Candy was planning on shaking Schultz's hand and then like knifing him or something. I don't know there. I don't know what Candy was thinking there. So Schultz might have been wise to kill Candy. I don't know, but that can be inferred, I guess. But that's not a definitive statement there. So recovering Broomhilda's freedom papers from Schultz's corpse, Django bids his deceased mentor goodbye and avenges him and D'Artagnan by killing. D'Artagnan was the Mandingo fighter that they were going to buy. Let's see. The group encounters Candy's slave treasure. Okay, well, Schultz wanted to buy D'Artagnan. Django didn't, but he was one of the Mandingo fighters there. By killing the trackers, he then he then frees Broomhilda just as Candy's mourners return from his burial. Okay. Alright, so frees Broomhilda. At the mansion, Django kills Lara, Crash, and the remaining henchmen. releases the two remaining house slaves, and kneecaps Stephen before igniting the dynamite he had planted throughout the mansion. So Stephen gets kneecapped there, a form of malicious wounding in which the victim is injured in the knee. The injury is typically inflicted by a low-velocity gunshot to the knee pit with a handgun. The term is considered a misnomer by medical professionals because only a very small minority of victims suffer damage to the kneecap. A review of 80 kneecapping victims found that only 2 had fractured kneecaps. Some victims had their elbows and ankles shot as well. Okay, so that's what kneecapping is there, just to clarify a bit. So he only kneecapped Stephen there, and Stephen is the one who snitched on them. I'm wondering why Django didn't kill him there. Stephen realizes that Broomhilda knows Django, deduces their plan, alerts Candy, so he snitches on them. I guess that's worth a kneecap there. I mean, Stephen didn't kill Schultz. He didn't kill Schultz. So I guess a kneecapping. He did snitch on them though, so I guess a kneecapping is good for that. But he does. I guess he does kill him because before igniting the dynamite, he had planted throughout the mansion. Okay, so he does kill Stephen. Also, I was wondering that there. Django and Broomhilda watch from a distance at the mansion. Watch from a distance as the mansion explodes before riding off together. Okay, so there I had to refresh myself on the plot there. That is a really good story. Has a lot of good use of deception from the hero side of things in order to free Broomhilda, Django's wife. So that's really interesting how Django turns from a slave or transforms from a slave into a bounty hunter. That's really interesting. He sort of just becomes one out of luck, kind of, because they just sort of run into Schultz in that opening scene there. And that's what catalyzes the rest of the film, which transforms Django into that bounty hunter. So I'm wondering if there's another film that's going to be made with Django that also has Zorro in it, maybe with just Zorro as a cameo or maybe as a secondary character. I don't know if that's the case. I want to look that up or research that on Wikipedia now. Django Unchained sequel, maybe with Zorro. Maybe I don't really know much about Zorro, but I did watch a bit of him when I was younger, like a really young kid or child rather, like age 5 at my grandparents' house. My maternal grandmother's, well, my step grandfather's house and my maternal grandmother's house. There won't be a crossover of the Django Unchained and Zorro films. Shoot. Despite years of rumblings that director Quentin Tarantino was considering the crossover film, writer Jared Carmichael has confirmed in an interview with GQ that the project isn't happening, even though a screenplay has been written. Shoot. And this is recent too. This is June 22nd of 2022. Oh man, they should make that. I understand they're all very busy people, but man, that'd be cool. That'd be cool to see if a Zorro, at least not maybe not like a crossover film, but just have like another Django film with like a Zorro cameo. That'd be cool. But anyway, that Django Unchained is a very good film. Also, I apologize for doing that out of order. Inglourious Basterds did come out before that. That is a really cool story of a slave who becomes a bounty hunter. That's sort of just via luck. It's a very good film. Highly recommend it. And that's another good one from Tarantino. That's definitely up there also. So I'm gonna have a hard time ordering these because all these are equally good. Okay, so Inglourious Basterds. That's the next one there. Well, that actually came out before, but I have to do it next because I was foolish and forgot to do that first before Django. I really like this film also. Set during World War II. Oh, okay, so Christopher Waltz is in Django and this. I do remember him from Inglourious Basterds. So I'm going to look at this here, and Again, I saw this way back in 2009 when it first came out. So I don't remember the specifics of the plot. I know there's some good scenes. I know Brad Pitt's really good at acting in it. Mike Myers is good in it too. I enjoy seeing him playing a more serious role. Um, so maybe I'll just do another plot read for this one, and then I'll try to just remember more of it as I read here. Okay, so in 1941, SS Starten Führer. I don't know what that is. SS. I do know what the SS is. That's the Nazi Party. Um, Nazi Party NSDAP. Um, okay, so that was SS start. It's SS Standartenführer. So SS. Um, I I thought that that was the Nazi Party. I will check. Yeah, that just stands for the Stutz. Okay, that stands for Schutzstaffel, a major paramilitary organization under Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. So not the Nazi Party itself, but a paramilitary organization or an organization associated with the Nazi Party in Nazi Germany and later throughout German occupied Europe. Okay, so just to clarify there, I thought the SS were the Nazis. I guess not though. So apologies for that. I know that now. Okay, so that's the paramilitary party SS Standartenführer. Hans Landa. So that's I believe that's Waltz's character there. Interrogates French farmer Perrier Lapidite, suspecting that the Lapidites are hiding a Jewish family, the Dreyfuses, under their floorboards. Lapidite cheerfully confirms this to spare his own family, and Landa has the family. Oh, that's a well, kind of a cowardly move there. I don't know if I would do that myself. Yikes, I might do that if I were in that situation. Um, I mean, it does kind of come down to him or me there, but and my family too. But anyway, Landa has the hidden family shot, but allows Shoshana Dreyfus to escape. Hmm. So I don't know why he allows Shoshana to escape. That's weird. 3 years later, U.S. Army Lieutenant Aldo Raine recruits Jewish American soldiers to the Bastards, with an E, a commando unit instilling fear among Nazis in Europe, occupied in occupied France by killing and scalping them. Okay, so yeah, I do remember learning about Vichy France when I read Art Spiegelman's Mouse back in high school. The French were not perfectly innocent during World War II. They were Nazi sympathizers there in Vichy France, so that sort of makes sense there that they are in France. So you have these bastards who are part of the U.S. military who hunt down Nazis and kill and scalp them to create fear among the Nazi party. So that's a cool concept. The group includes Sergeant Donnie the Bear Judanowitz, rogue German Sergeant Hugo Stiglitz, and Austrian-born translator Corporal Wilhelm Wicke. In Germany, Adolf Hitler interviews a German soldier who reveals that Raine carved a swastika into his forehead after massacring his squad. Okay, so although Raine must be Brad Pitt's character, because I do remember him being the head of that group of the bastards. Yes. Okay, so you have this family, Jewish family, who's hiding out in France. Also, they're found out by the Nazis because the people housing them admits to them that they're hiding them, and then only Dreyfus escapes, the Shoshana Dreyfus. So, okay, I have that going. I know about the bastards now. I remember them now and what they do. Instilling fear into the Nazis by killing and scalping them. This is an American military unit. In Paris, Shoshana operates a cinema under the name Emmanuel Mimu
and meets Friedrich Zoller, a famed German sniper set to star in the Nazi propaganda film Stolz der Nation, Nation's Pride. Infatuated with Shoshana, Zoller convinces Joseph Goebbels to hold the film's premiere at her cinema. Landa, the premiere's head of security, interrogates Shoshana. And this is I'm guessing, either daughter or wife who escaped from that farm in France in the beginning, who plots with her Afro-French lover and projectionist Marcel to kill the Nazi leaders in attendance. Okay, so Shoshana, who has escaped, she's in Paris. She's operating a cinema under the name Emmanuel Mimu. Meets Friedrich Zoller, a famed German sniper set to star in the Nazi German propaganda film Stolz der Nation, Nation's Pride. Infatuated with Shoshana, Zoller convinces Joseph Goebbels to hold the film's premiere at her cinema. So that's interesting. I'm assuming Shoshana's Jewish still, but she has that fake name, so that's probably why Zoller, this German sniper, is interested in her. Okay, so we have that interest there, which is interesting because Zoller probably does not know that she is a Jew and he himself is a German sniper. Landa, the premier's head of security, interrogates Shoshana, who plots with her Afro-French lover and projectionist Marcel to kill the Nazi leaders in attendance. Okay, so that I remember that of the film too. I think they do burn down the theater. I think that's how they do that. Okay, so you had that strange love interest there. You had the plot to kill these German leaders in attendance of this Nazi propaganda film. And Shoshana is the escaped daughter, I'm guessing, perhaps wife, who escaped from that farm earlier in the film, also in France. British Commando Lieutenant Archie Hickox is recruited to lead an attack on the premiere with the Bastards. Disguised as German officers, Hickox, Stiglitz, and Wiki meet with German film star Brigitte von Hammersmark, an undercover Allied agent, at a tavern in Nazi-occupied northern France. So I'm just checking to see if Hickox is one of the bastards mentioned earlier. Wiki is a bastard. Stiglitz is also a bastard. So Wiki Stiglitz Donowitz is another bastard, as well as Aldo Rain. British Commando Lieutenant Archie Hickox. Hickox isn't mentioned among the bastards in the original description, but he is a British Commando. He is recruited to lead an attack on the premiere with the bastards, disguised as German officers. Hickox, Stiglitz, a bastard, and Wiki, another bastard, meet with German film star Brigitte von Hammersmark, an undercover Allied agent, at a tavern in Nazi-occupied northern France. Hickox inadvertently draws the attention of Wehrmacht Sergeant Wilhelm and Major Dieter Hellstrom, first with his unusually accented German and then by using a British hand gesture. Uh-oh, so he accidentally uses a British hand gesture, and it has a bad German accent. So this Hickox is an ally, but messes up here. Their cover is blown, and a gunfight ensues, killing everyone except Wilhelm and a wounded von Hammersmark. Oh shoot! So looks like a couple of the bastards died there. And yeah, so Hickox, the British commando, also dies. So just Wilhelm and von Hammersmark, the Germans, are alive. Rain, the leader of the bastards, arrives and negotiates for von Hammersmark's release, but shoots Wilhelm. Rain tortures von Hammersmark, believing she set his men up, but she convinces him she is loyal. Okay, so Hammersmark is that undercover ally agent. So that is German film star Bridget von Hammersmark. She's the undercover Allied agent. Aldo Rain. She's the one who survived along with Wilhelm, the German sergeant. So Rain thinks that she betrayed him and the bastards and the British commando. Believes she set his men up, but she convinces him she is loyal and reveals Hitler will be attending the premiere. Rain decides to carry out their plan with himself, Donowitz, and Omar Ulmer. I know Donowitz is the German bastard. I don't know who Ulmer is. And he's not mentioned beforehand, so maybe they'll talk about him later. Investigating the tavern. Okay, so she mentions she's loyal and reveals Hitler will be attending the premiere. Rain decides to carry out their plan with himself. So it seems like both the bastards as well as Shoshana want to kill these German officers, although in a different way. So this is the conflict here. I don't know if the bastards know that Shoshana is planning on setting the theater afire, and they might just be planning on assassinating these German officers in another way. But they might be in that theater where the film is showing too, so they might be killed in the fire also, which is interesting. Inadvertently killed by Shoshana, who may or may not care about the Americans and the bastards there. Rain Donowitz, so had the bastards, Donowitz, another Jewish bastard, and Ulmer. Did I miss Ulmer when he's mentioned in this first paragraph or second paragraph here? Maybe he's in the third paragraph. No, that's Zoller. That's the love interest to Shoshana. Who the heck is Ulmer? He might just be an. I'll just state him as an ally there to the bastards. And Ulmer infiltrate the premiere with timed explosives. Okay, so they are maybe doing a suicide mission, maybe. While Landa confronts von Hammersmark with her missing shoe before strangling her to death. Rain and another bastard, Smithson, Utvich, are discovered and taken prisoner, but Landa has Rain contact his superior to cut a deal. Landa. I don't know who Landa is either. Is she that German star? No, she's someone else. That's not the phone name for Shoshana, I believe. She's Emmanuel Mimou, which sounds like a man's name. So is she disguised as a man? I think that's another part of the film which I remember also. Maybe I can't remember that one, but I will look that up too. Um, I don't know. Almer, I'm just going to assume, is the ally to the bastards, which makes sense. I don't know. Landa. I don't know who Landa is. Landa finds von Hammersmark shooting napkin with her signature. Landa. They don't mention Landa in this synopsis either. Who the heck is Landa? I'm assuming another ally, but I cannot find him mentioned before here. Okay, so they're going to go to the premiere still. Rain decides to carry out their plan with himself, Donowitz, and Omar Umer investigating the tavern. I don't know who Landa is. Landa finds von Hammersmark's shoe and a napkin with her signature. Okay, so maybe they'll explain later. I don't know. Landa finds von Hammersmark's shoe and napkin with her signature. Rain Donowitz and Ulmer infiltrate the premiere with timed explosives, while Landa confronts von Hammersmark with her missing shoe before strangling her to death. Okay. So that undercover agent slash actress is strangled to death by Landa. Landa seems to be, if I remember correctly, I think that might be Christoph Waltz's character. I think he is a German who is suspicious of the bastards and is trying to sniff the bastards out. I think I do remember that from the film now. So I'm going to assume that for now. Okay, so Landa is the he finds Hammersmark's shoe at the tavern where the British commandos and those other two bastards are killed due to Hilcox's negligence. So Landa kills Hammersmark, the undercover agents for the bastards. Rain Donowitz, head of the bastards, Jewish bastard, and Ulmer, an ally of the bastards, I'll assume, infiltrate the premiere with time explosives, while Lana confronts von Hammersmark with her missing tissue bro strangling her to death. Did that part already. Rain and another bastard, Smith and Altvich, are discovered and taken prisoner. But Landa has Rain contact his superior to cut a deal. Landa will allow their mission to proceed in exchange for safe passage through the Allied lines, a full pardon, and other privileges. So maybe that isn't who I was thinking of. Doesn't seem to be out and trying to sniff out the bastards and trying to destroy them. He's trying to get a pardon and other privileges. So he wants to get through the Allied lines. He wants a pardon. He wants other privileges. So I don't know who Landa is, but he does kill Hammersmark. So that gives me the assumption that, or that makes me assume that he is a German, maybe a Nazi. Okay, so he wants passage to the Allied lines, a full pardon, and other privileges. So maybe he's a German who escaped the bastards somehow, and so now he's using uh, this situation to get that pardon he wants, as well as passage to the Allied lines and these other privileges. Because he's taken prisoner both Rain and Smith and Altvich, another bastard. I'm assuming by Landa. Yeah, because he has Rain contact his superior to cut a deal. So yeah, I'm guessing is Landa is a German, possibly a Nazi. I don't know why he wants safe passage to the Allied lines of full pardon and other privileges through that exchange, though. Strange. But he's allowing the bastard's mission to proceed. During the screening, Zoller slips away to the projection booth and attempts to force himself on Shoshana, leading them to shoot each other dead. Okay, so they're both dead now. As the film reaches its climax, Shoshana's spliced in footage tells the audience that they are about to be killed by a Jew. That's interesting. Having locked the auditorium, Marcel ignites a pile of flammable film behind the screen. Wait, I thought Shoshana was Marcel, so how, if she's dead already, how can she ignite that pile of flammable film behind the screen? Setting the theater ablaze, Ulmer and Donowitz break into the opera box. So Ulmer and Donowitz are two of the bastards. They break into the opera box, gunning down Hitler and Goebbels, and firing into the crowd until their explosives kill everyone inside the cinema. Huh. Landa and his radio operator drive Rain and Altvich, the other bastard there, into Allied territory where they surrender themselves. However, Rain shoots the radio operator before ordering Altvich to scalp him and carves a swastika into Landa's forehead, professing it to be his masterpiece. Okay, so Landa, I still don't know who Landa is. I am confused of how um, Marcel slash Shoshana ignites that pile of flammable film behind the screen when she is dead due to her and the German officer interested in her shooting each other. So I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it's interesting. Theater set ablaze. Ulmer and Donowitz, two of the bastards, break into the opera box, gunning down Hitler and Goebbels, finding the sources, kill everyone inside the cinema. So it seems to be a suicide mission because they are in the cinema and firing into the crowd. Why wouldn't they just I know they didn't know about the theater being built down by Shoshana, but they were planning on killing everyone by setting off explosives in the cinema also. Are they trying to send a message out or something of not to mess with the bastards or something like that by saying we're tough enough to kill two of our own members? I don't know why they would do that when you can just gun them down, all the German officers, as they did from the opera box. Um, maybe fear of being found by German soldiers afterwards for doing that, but I don't know. That's weird too. Landa and his radio operator drive Rain and Altbitch, the two bastards there, into Allied territory where they surrender themselves. So Landa and his radio operator. However, Rain shoots the radio operator before ordering Altbitch to scalp him and carves a swastika into Landa's forehead, professing it to be his masterpiece. Okay, I understand that better now there. I thought when I said they surrendered themselves, I thought they meant Rain and Altbitch as that, as they say, Rain and Altbitch into Allied territory where they surrendered themselves, but they meant Landa and his radio operator. Proper grammar would place the would say this: Landa and his radio operator drive Rain and Altbitch into Allied territory, where both Landa and his radio operator surrender themselves. So yeah, because that's confusing there. Because when you say they at the end of a sentence, I'm going to assume that it's the most previous or most adjacent subject to that next verb phrase there. So yeah, that should say Landa and his radio operators drive Rain and Altfish into Allied territory, where both Landa and his radio operator surrender themselves. So I'm just correcting this person who wrote this here, or people, but that's okay. Rain shoots the radio operator before ordering Altvich to scalp him and carves a swastika into Landa's forehead, professing it to be his masterpiece. So it sort of ends. These. I'm assuming two Germans, Nazis. I'm going to make a better assumption, stating that Landa is a German Nazi and his radio operator also. They capture the two bastards, but negotiate a deal with them. The bastards turn on the deal, and somewhat at least, they might still let Landa go through. They do kill his radio operator for some reason, but then they carve a swastika into his forehead. So it looks like Landa does live. They let Landa live. So weird. He's a German who wants passage to the Allied lines, a full pardon, and other privileges. Okay, so they allow him to do that, but they do carve that Nazi swastika into his forehead there to admit their power over him, I suppose. Um, so that's the plot to Inglorious Bastards. I remember it better now after reading it. Really good film, also very interesting plot line. I think the Bastards were a real organization in World War II. I'm going to double check that though. I'll check. I don't know if they are or not. Uh, hmm. Operation Green Up, The Real Inglorious Bastards, a real world spy story fit for the silver screen, one of the most popular genres of World War II literatures. 1978, The Inglorious Bastards, American soldiers from unusual friendship while trying to avoid that's a 1978 film of the same name. And it looks like they might be Operation Green Up. So those are the real Inglorious Bastards based on the World War II National or the National World War II Museum in New Orleans. Yeah. So actual history of the war. Green Up. That's the name. Operation Green Up. Um, I'll have to look into this more here. But if you want to learn more about the real Inglorious Bastards, read into Operation Green Up. I'm not going to go too much into that now because I want to finish my review on Tarantino and his films, but I will favorite that there, this World War II site, the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, which talks about Operation Green Up. Um, so again, very good film, really interesting plot. Has a lot of interesting characters in there, interesting plot devices. Shoshana and her movie theater and her German love interest, who I'm assuming doesn't realize she's a Jew. You have the Landa character who wants forgiveness from the bastards, who I'm assuming is German and possibly a Nazi. You have the undercover agent in the bar. You have the negligent British officer who ends up having his men killed as well as himself due to his negligence. Um, I'm just going to look up Emmanuel Milieu, Inglorious Bastards. Um, I think she just but weird though because if she did describe herself as a male, then the German officer that was interested in her, I can't remember his name. Was it? I think it's Zonal or Zorl. Um, he might have been homosexual. Um, uh, which is interesting too. I'm going to look into that there. Uh, I have to find the names of those two characters that love interest, the unrequited love interest between the German officer and Shoshana. Okay, so Emmanuel Mimieux. I don't know if she disguises herself as a man or if she just uses that name on business papers so she can own that theater. Um, I'm going to check on that there. I will check here. Glorious Bastards Wiki. Shoshana Dreyfus, very attractive blonde female, played by. Doesn't say here. Might say it at the bottom though. Let's see. Um, so I guess Emmanuel might be a female name. Emmanuel Mimieux. Okay, so I mean they do refer to Emmanuel Mimieux as a her. Zoller tries to counter that, telling her that he's more than a uniform, but she says not to her. Okay, so she it seems like she is dressed in female clothing throughout the movie and is known as a female. So I was just confused by that because Emmanuel does sound like a male name to me. But I will look that up. I'll do this French to English here. There's another actress named Emmanuel who's French also, so I'm wondering what that Oh, Emma. Okay. It sounded like Emmanuel or Manuel or something to me. Um, yeah. Okay. So that's like a Emma in English, or that's the closest thing or name I can equate to that. Okay, so that makes sense, or a bit more sense now, because I mean, a homosexual German would be interesting also in that, but I guess he's heterosexual in that. Zoller, there. Okay, so Inglourious Basterds, a really good Quentin Tarantino film, also. Really interesting characters, interesting plot line set in World War II. Another great film from Quentin Tarantino, very good. So I'm going to move on. Did Django already accidentally before Inglourious Basterds, so I apologize for that again. Yeah, Hateful Eight came out before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so I will uh, just go to that wiki page also, or the Wikipedia page for that, because I saw that a while ago too. I will try to explain that plot before I actually go to the Wikipedia page. I know it's about people in a cabin. I think it's about a group of assassins called the Hateful Eight, but I don't know. That's all I can remember from that because I remember there are people in a cabin and there are people killing each other, and I know there's deception involved. And that's all I can remember from that film. But I know there's a lot of good action in there, and Samuel Jackson's in there, has a good performance in there in the film. And I am going to check the plot on Wikipedia now. All right, so 2015 is when that uh, debuted. In 1877, bounty hunter and Union veteran Quentin Tarantino seems to like assassins and bounty hunters, who are morally ambiguous in terms of characters, which seem to match what can be found in Pulp Fiction. The Inglourious Bastards are bounty hunters in a way also. They hunt Germans down and kill them and kill and scalp them. So that's interesting. I never really realized how much of a theme that was in his films up till now. But yeah, okay. So in 1877, bounty hunter and Union veteran Major Marquis Warren heads to Red Rock, Wyoming, with three bounty corpses. His horse gives out, and faced with a blizzard, Warren hitches a ride on a stagecoach driven by O.B. Jackson. Aboard is bounty hunter John Ruth, the hangman, handcuffed to fugitive Crazy Daisy Demerg, whom he is taking to Red Rock to be hanged. Warren and Ruth. Excuse me, yawning here. I apologize for that. Um, okay, so Warren and Ruth had previously bonded over Warren's personal letter from Abraham Lincoln. Chris Mannix, whose father, Erskine, led a lost causer militia called Mannix's Marauders, claims to be Red Rock's new sheriff and joins them. During the trip, Ruth learns about the Confederate bounty on Warren's head for breaking out of and setting fire to a prisoner of war camp. So already the plot seems complex. Okay, so I'm just going to paraphrase this for myself here so I can understand it better. In 1877, bounty hunter and Union veteran Major Marquis Warren heads to Red Rock, Wyoming, with three bounty corpses. His horse gives out, and faced with a blizzard, Warren hitches a ride on a stagecoach driven by O.B. Jackson. Aboard is bounty hunter John Ruth, the hangman, handcuffed to fugitive Crazy Daisy Domergue, whom he is taking to Red Rock to be hanged. Warren and Ruth had previously bonded over Warren's personal letter from Abraham Lincoln. So Warren is a bounty hunter. Ruth is also a bounty hunter, and Ruth has a bounty handcuffed to him, Crazy Daisy Domergue, and he is taking her to Red Rock to be hanged. Both Warren and Ruth had previously bonded over Warren's personal letter from Abraham Lincoln. Pardon. Chris Mannix, whose father, Erskine, led a lost causer militia called Mannix's Marauders, claims to be Red Rock's new sheriff and joins them. Okay, so we have the two bounty hunters, Warren and Ruth. You have Crazy Daisy Domergue, who is the imprisoned bounty there. She's being taken to Red Rock to be hanged. And then you have Chris Mannix, whose father, Erskine, led a lost cause or militia called Mannix's Marauders, claims to be Red Rock's new sheriff, and joins them. So Warren is bounty hunter one. Ruth is bounty hunter two with the bounty Crazy Daisy, who's being taken to Red Rock. Then you have Mannix. Father was a leader of a lost cause or militia. I don't know what a lost cause is. Oh, the lost cause of the Confederacy is an American pseudo-historical negationist myth that claims the cause of the Confederate States during the American Civil War, was just heroic and not centered on slavery. Okay. Um, First enunciated in 1866. Huh. Claims that the cause of the Confederate States during the American Civil War was just heroic and not centered on slavery. I don't know. Okay. So that Mannix's father was head of this Lost Causer militia. Claims that Confederate States were based on heroics instead of slavery. Claims to be Red Rock's new sheriff and joins them. Okay. So Warren, Ruth, Crazy Daisy, and Mannix claims to be Red Rock's new sheriff. Has a father head of that Lost Causer militia. During the trip, Ruth learns about the Confederate bounty on Warren's head for breaking out of and setting fire to a prisoner of war camp. Okay, so that's another element to Warren there. They seek refuge from the blizzard at Minnie's haberdashery, tended by Bob, a Mexican who claims to be watching the haberdashery in Minnie and her husband Sweet Dave's absence. The lodge shelters local hangmen Oswaldo Mowbray, Cowboy Joe Gage, and Confederate General Sanford Smithers, who is planning to erect a cenotaph. I don't know what a cenotaph is. An empty tomb or a monument erected in honor of a person or group of people whose remains are elsewhere. Okay. For his missing son, Chester Charles, suspicious, Ruth, the bounty hunter with Crazy Daisy there, disarms all but Warren, the other bounty hunter. At dinner, Mannix, the son of the Lost Causer militia, and claiming to be the Red Rock sheriff, surmises that the Lincoln letter is false. I don't know what this Lincoln letter is about. It doesn't state that in the first paragraph there, although it does mention it. So I don't know what they mean when they write that it's false here. Warren responds to Ruth's disappointment. Yeah, really tired. I have to eat something soon. I'll definitely finish this video first, though. Warren responds to Ruth's disappointment by saying his forged letter buys him leeway with whites. Okay, so Warren is African American, I'm assuming. Warren puts one of his guns next to Smithers and claims that he sexually assaulted and murdered Smithers' son, who had tried to claim the bounty. Whether or not this is true is never revealed. When Smithers reaches for the gun, Warren kills him in revenge for ordering the execution of black prisoners of war at Baton Rouge. So both the Real Inglorious Bastards and um, this here, the Black Prisoners of War at Baton Rouge, both are based in New Orleans. So um, Louisiana rather. So that's interesting there. During the confrontation, the coffee is poisoned, which Daisy silently witnessed. Oh, just gonna yawning way too much here. Ruth and OB, um, Bounty Hunter with Crazy Daisy and OB. I don't OB. Who is OB? Oh, OB. Oh, OB Jackson is the stagecoach, which Warren has hitched a ride with. Uh, Ruth and OB drink the coffee. OB dies, and Daisy kills the dying Ruth with his own gun. Okay, so Ruth is dead now. One of the bounty hunters there, as found, Warren had killed Smithers. He sexually assaulted Smithers also, as Smithers had tried to claim some of his bounty. He also killed him as Smithers ordered the execution of black prisoners of a POW camp in Baton Rouge. So I'm assuming Warren is African American. During the confrontation, the coffee is poisoned, which Daisy silently witnessed, Crazy Daisy, who's going to be hanged at Red Rock. Ruth and OB drink the coffee, OB dies, and Daisy kills the dying Ruth with his own gun. Okay, so Ruth, who is carrying Daisy, Daisy, um, oh, okay, so Daisy sees the coffee being poisoned. Who poisons the coffee there? Daisy doesn't poison the coffee, she just witnesses it. Ruth and Obi drink the coffee, Obi dies, and then Daisy kills the dying Ruth with his own gun. Warren disarms Daisy, the other bounty hunter disarms Daisy, leaving her shackled to Ruth's corpse, and holds the others at gunpoint except Mannix. Mannix is the son of the Lost Causer militiamen claiming to be the Red Rock sheriff, who nearly drank the poisoned coffee himself. Warren deduces that Bob is lying about looking after the haberdashery and kills him. Okay, so who is Bob here? Um, I don't think they mentioned Bob, do they? Bob. Oh, Bob, a Mexican who claims to be watching the haberdashery in Minnie and her husband Sweet Dave's absence. Okay, he's the haberdashery's tender, so to speak, as the other people are away, the actual owners. Um, so during there's a confrontation there. Okay, so Warren puts one of his guns next to Smithers and claims that he sexually assaulted and murdered Smithers' son, who had tried to claim the bounty. Whether or not, okay, so I confused that there. He claims to Smithers, Warren, that he sexually assaulted and murdered Smithers' son, who had tried to claim the bounty. Whether or not this is true is never revealed. When Smithers reaches for the gun to kill Warren, Warren kills him in revenge for ordering the execution of black prisoners of war at Baton Rouge. So Warren also kills him to protect himself, I'm assuming, as well as for the black prisoners of war reason. During the confrontation, the coffee is poisoned. I don't know who poisons the coffee, but Daisy witnesses this. Ruth and OB drink the coffee. OB dies, and Daisy kills the dying Ruth with his own gun. Warren disarms Daisy, leaving her shackled to Ruth's corpse, and holds the others at gunpoint except Mannix, who claims to be sheriff and is son of that Lost Causer militia leader, who nearly drank the poisoned coffee himself. Warren, the living bounty hunter here, deduces that Bob, the Mexican tending the haberdashery while the couple who owns it is away, is lying about looking after the haberdashery and kills him. When Warren threatens to kill Daisy, Gage admits that he poisoned the coffee. Gage, who the heck is Gage? Okay, so the Crazy Eight has to be about these eight characters here, about them deceiving each other and killing each other based on past interactions with family members and claiming bounties and that sort. Oh, okay, so Gage is a cowboy. Okay, so the lodge shelters local hangman Oswaldo Mowbray. These are characters who I don't really know about yet. Cowboy Joe Gage and Confederate General Sanford Smithers, who we already talked. I already talked about there. Um, okay, so and Smithers was planning a cenotaph for his missing son Chester Charles. Um, okay, right. So that's why. So Warren admits that he killed Smithers' son, and that's why Smithers tries to kill him, and then Warren kills him to protect himself, as well as for Warren ordering the execution of black prisoners of war at Baton Rouge. Another reason. That may be why he killed his son. Also, I don't know, but that might be another reason. Okay, so during the confrontation, the coffee is poisoned by Gage. Daisy witnesses this. Ruth and OB drink the coffee. OB dies, and Daisy kills the dying Ruth with his own gun. Warren disarms Daisy, leaving her shackled to Ruth's corpse, and holds the others at gunpoint except Mannix, the sheriff and son of the Lost Causer Confederate um, militia leader, who nearly drank the poisoned coffee himself. Warren and the bounty hunter deduces that Bob, the Mexican who is supposedly tending for the home while the other two are away, is lying about looking at after the haberdashery and kills him. When Warren threatens to kill Daisy, Gage admits that he poisoned the coffee. Okay, so Gage poisoned the coffee. He is the cowboy. Um, so a shooter. Coffee. Okay, so Gage the cowboy admits that he is the one who poisoned the coffee, killing both Ruth, the one bounty hunter who was holding Daisy there, and his carriage driver OB. Gage admits that he poisoned the coffee. Daisy is still alive here. Mannix is also alive as he did not drink the poison coffee. Warren deduces that Bob is lying. So Bob is dead now because Warren deduces that Bob lied about um, taking care of the haberdashery while the real owners are away. When Warren threatens to kill Daisy, Gage admits that he poisoned the coffee. Gage is the cowboy. An unknown man hiding under the floorboards shoots Warren in the groin. Oh, that's interesting there. Okay, so Warren is wounded now, and Mowbray and Mannix shoot and wound one another. Okay, so Mowbray. I have to find out who Mowbray is here. Oh, local hangman. Okay, so he's the hangman there. Mowbray's the hangman. Gage is the cowboy. And Mowbray the hangman and Mannix the supposed sheriff and son of the Lost Causer militia man shoot and wound one another. Okay, so Warren is wounded now. And Mowbray and Mannix both shoot and wound one another. They're both wounded also. A flashback shows Bob, Mowbray, Bob. Okay, so yeah, okay, so that's the Mexican. In a flashback shows Bob, Mowbray. So Bob the Mexican, Mowbray the hangman, Engage the cowboy, and Crazy Daisy's brother Jody arriving at the lodge hours earlier. They murdered Minnie, Sweet Dave, the haberdashery owners, and all the employees and customers except Smithers, whom they spared to create a believable setting in exchange for his silence. Oh, okay, so that's interesting there. Once they finished hiding the bodies, cleaning the store, and hiding weapons for future use, um, Jody hid in the cellar. So Jody is the one who shot Warren in the groin from beneath there. As Ruth, Daisy, Obie, Warren, and Mannix arrived. Okay, that makes sense now. In the present, Warren and Mannix, both seriously wounded, hold Daisy, Gage, Daisy the Crazy Daisy, Gage the Cowboy, and Mowbray the Hangman at gunpoint. These deviants who off the owners of this haberdashery, and then essentially let Smithers live to create a more reasonable scenario in case anybody came by, um, and kept him silent somehow. I guess via threat of his life being ended. How do they do that there? In exchange for his silence. So I guess, yeah, okay. So yeah, was just an employee there. Unfortunately, Warren kills him. Um, so there. Interesting. Once they finish, Warren kills Smithers because um, Smithers' son was after one of his bounties, and also uh, Smithers ordered the execution of black prisoners at a POW camp in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Okay, so there we go. There, that's just me trying to memorize things here. Um, so, setting in exchange for his silence. Once they finish hiding the bodies, cleaning the store, and hiding weapons for future use. Okay, Jody's the one who wounded Warren from beneath here. Okay, so in the present, Warren and Mannix, so the bounty hunter and the supposed sheriff, both seriously wounded, hold Crazy Daisy, Cowboy Gage, and Mowbray, the hangman, at gunpoint. Um, it's weird. Why is the hangman helping Crazy Daisy? I don't know. Because she is meant to be hanged there. Okay, so that's weird. Okay, so they're all held at gunpoint now by Warren and Mannix. So the Daisy, Gage, and Mowbray, as well as Bob, the Mexican there who's already dead. They are the troublemakers in this here. Warren is a bounty hunter, and Mannix the sheriff. Ruth is dead as he drank the poisoned coffee that Gage poisoned, as well as his carriage driver OB. Okay, so in the present, Warren and Mannix, Warren the bounty hunter, Mannix the supposed sheriff, both seriously wounded, hold Crazy Daisy, Gage the cowboy, and Mowbray the hangman at gunpoint. When they threaten to kill Daisy, Crazy Daisy, Jody, Daisy's brother, surrenders and is executed by Warren. The surviving gang members claim 15 hired guns are waiting in Red Rock and offer a deal. If Mannix, the bounty hunter, kills Warren, if Mannix, the sheriff, kills Warren, the bounty hunter, they will spare Mannix and allow him to collect the bounty on the dying Mowbray, the hangman, and the deceased Bob, the Mexican, whose real names are revealed to be English, in quotes, Pete Hickox and Mark. Oh, I'm sorry. So Mowbray, the hangman, his real name is Pete English, in quote, Pete Hickox, and Bob the Mexican, his actual name is Marco the Mexican, in quotes. Okay. So yeah, as I stated from just my memory, there's a lot of deception going on here. The dying Mowbray, and all right, so I'm gonna read that part again. In the present, Warren the bounty hunter and Mannix, the supposed sheriff, both seriously wounded, hold Daisy, Crazy Daisy, Gage the cowboy, and Mowbray at gunpoint. Jody's still downstairs at this point. When they threaten to kill Daisy, Jody, Daisy's brother, surrenders and is executed by Warren the bounty hunter. The surviving gang members claim 15 hired guns are waiting in Red Rock and offer a deal. If Mannix, the sheriff, supposed sheriff, kills Warren the bounty hunter, they will spare Mannix and allow Mannix to collect the bounty on the dying Mowbray and the deceased Bob. So they're sort of betraying their own friends here, although they are dying. So Mowbray the Mexican, in quotes, I'm sorry, not the Mexican. Mowbray is the hangman, supposed hangman, I guess now, and then the deceased Bob, the Mexican, in quotes. So Warren kills Hickox when he tries to persuade. Oh God, Hickox. Hickox. Who is Hickox here? Crazy Daisy Domergue. So that's not her. Hickox. Who the heck is Hickox? Sorry, Hickox. Did they mention Hickox in the synopsis before now? I will check and see. Uh, who's Hickox? Oh, I don't know who that is. Warren kills Hickox. Oh, Pete Hickox is Mowbray. Okay, so they did mention that just now. Sorry, I forgot about that. Have to work on my super short-term memory here. Okay, so I'm going to read this one more time. In the present, Warren the bounty hunter and Mannix, the supposed sheriff, both seriously wounded, hold Crazy Daisy, Gage the cowboy, and Mowbray the hangman at gunpoint. When they threaten to kill Daisy, Jody, the brother of Daisy, surrenders himself and is executed by Warren the bounty hunter. The surviving gang members claim 15 hired guns are waiting in Red Rock and offer a deal. If Mannix, the sheriff, supposed sheriff, kills Warren, the bounty hunter, they will spare Mannix and allow Mannix to collect the bounty on the dying Mowbray, the hangman, also known as Pete Hickox, and the deceased Bob, also known as Marco the Mexican, respectively. Warren kills Hickox, formerly known as Mowbray in this film. He then tries to persuade Mannix, the supposed sheriff. Warren and Mannix then kill Gage. So Warren the bounty hunter and the sheriff then kill Gage the cowboy, whose real name is Grouch in quotes Douglas, when he grabs a pistol hidden under the table. Okay, so the members at gunpoint, these deviants who killed the haberdashery owners, they are trying to plead with Warren and Mannix, the bounty hunter, and the supposed sheriff. They try to convince Mannix. They say to Mannix, if you kill Warren, we will let you have the bounty for our dying friends here, Mowbray slash Pete Hickox and Bob slash the Marco Mexican. Warren reacts to this by killing Pete Hickox when he tries to persuade Mannix. So he kills Hickox when Hickox tries to do this, also known as Mowbray. So Warren and Mannix, the bounty hunter and the sheriff, then kill Gage, whose real name is Grouch. Gage the cowboy, whose real name is Grouch in quotes Douglas, when he grabs a pistol hidden under the table. Okay, so they both, I think, kind of. I'm assuming they both give each other a look, both Warren and Mannix, and then decide it's probably just best to kill all these people. As Hickox tries to cut a deal with Mannix to kill Warren to collect the bounty for their already dying friends, Mowbray and the Mexican, the hangman and the Mexican, Hickox and the Marco the Mexican. Okay, so a lot of pseudonyms here, but I know who everyone is now. Mannix, the sheriff, supposed sheriff of Red Rock, hears Daisy's proposal, but deduces she is lying. When Mannix, about the 15 hired guns that are waiting in Red Rock. When Mannix, the supposed sheriff, faints from blood loss, Daisy hacks off Ruth's arm, the bounty hunter who died from drinking the poisoned coffee, who was taking Daisy to Red Rock to be hanged. But Mannix reawakens and wounds her. The two hang Daisy from the rafters in honor of Ruth. Um, the two, I'm assuming that means Mannix and Warren, hang Daisy from the rafters in honor of Ruth, who the other bounty hunter who Gage poisoned with the coffee there, who always brought his bounty to the gallows, which earned him the nickname the Hangman. As they lie dying, Maddox reads Warren's fake Lincoln letter aloud. So what is in the Lincoln letter here? That's a really good plot. A lot of deception there. Uh, so I'll name who's in the cast here to give you a face to the name of the characters. Samuel L. Jackson is Warren, the main bounty hunter there who survives until the end. Kurt Russell as John the Hangman Ruth, the other bounty hunter who gets poisoned by the coffee towards the beginning of the film, who's poisoned by Gage. Um, the cowboy. Um, and then Crazy Daisy is played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, very attractive. And yeah, seems to be a good actress also from what I remember her in the film. Walton Goggins as Chris Mannix, or the supposed sheriff, um, who I think is the sheriff, from what I assume from reading the plot. I don't really know him that well, but seems to be a good actor also, from what I remember. Demian Beecher or Bicker, Demian Bicker Nahara, a Mexican actor. Oh, Damian Beecher Nahara. I do know a little bit of Spanish, so um, as the Mexican, Bob the Mexican. Tim Roth as Oswaldo Mowbray the Hangman. So Tim Roth is back again in one of Quentin Tarantino's films. Very good actor also. Michael Madsen, who is also in Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill, is in this also. Joe Gage, he plays the cowboy who poisons the coffee, killing Ruth, the bounty hunter, and his stagecoach driver, OB. OB is played by James Parks, an American actor. Bruce Dern plays Smithers, the man who is essentially Silence. He's one of the employees at the haberdashery, and the deviants who kill the owners and take it over simply use him as cover to make it look like a more normal sort of setting. And he is killed by Warren as his son tried to claim a bounty, supposedly, and because he also Smithers himself also ordered the death of African American, I think it was soldiers at the POW camp in Baton Rouge. Yeah, execution of black prisoners of war at Baton Rouge. Channing Tatum as Jody, Crazy Daisy's brother, who shoots Warren from beneath the floorboards in the groin and then surrenders himself when Warren threatens to kill Daisy. Dana Gore EA as Minnie Mink, the one of the heads of the haberdashery who's killed before we don't even see them in the, oh, we do, I guess we do have to see them because he's in the film, but yeah, that's shown in the flashback. I forgot about that part. So I don't know who she is, but she plays Minnie Mink. Zoe Bell as Six Horse Judy. I don't know who that is. She might be a minor character in that. And there's some other minor characters in here also that are in there. Zoe Bell, who is in Death Proof as the stunt driver. Lee Horsley as Ed. They aren't really mentioned as the main character. And then Gene Jones as Sweet Dave. So that's a complex plot. Really good. I like the deception that's used in it. The two good, well, actually, more than two good characters. I had three good characters, even four here. Um, I'm going to discern who's good and bad here. So Sam Jackson is definitely a good character. He's a bounty hunter there. Kurt Russell, another good one. Unfortunately, he dies early on in the film. Jennifer Jason Leigh, bad character. Crazy Daisy. Walter Goggins, good character. Chris Mannix. Damian Beaker, bad character. Bob slash Marco the Mexican. Tim Roth as Mowbray the Hangman, bad character. Um, and when I say bad, I mean evil. Michael Madsen, evil. Joe Gage, the cowboy. Bruce Dern is Smithers. Well, I don't know because supposedly he did order the execution of black prisoners of war in a prison camp in Baton Rouge. So I don't know about him. Um, Neutral, I guess, would be the word for him. James Parks is Obie Jackson. I'm going to guess good. He was the carriage driver there. Unfortunately, he was poisoned. So I'll say good for him. Channing Tatum as Jodie Dominger, evil. Dana Goyer is Minnie Mink. I'm going to assume she's good as she's just a haberdashery owner. I don't know who Six Horse Judy is or all these other minor characters are, but just wanted to discern who's good and bad for myself there, just to understand the plot more. But another really good film by Quentin Tarantino. That's definitely up there. Had a funnier sort of tone to it from what I remember. And it is a bit funny that everybody is just sort of deceiving one another here and attempting to, save their own skin, so to speak, betraying one another and making deals and all that. These bad characters who have taken over this haberdashery, who unfortunately have met a couple of bounty hunters there, which is unfortunate for them. But a good ending. I think good does win over evil in this here, which is good. And then I'm going to do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for the last Quentin Tarantino film that I've seen. I think this is his last or most recent one that he's made. I'm hoping that'll make Kill Bill 3. I'm just going to go to Quentin Tarantino's page here on Wikipedia. Um, yeah, I think he has a good amount of time left. He's 60 years of age, seems to be in good health there. So I think he has a good amount of time left to create some films. But yeah, all of his films I really do enjoy. I'm going to look at see what he has here. Okay, so there's a to be announced film here. It's not Kill Bill Volume 3. It's The Movie Critic. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, that really good film. I'm going to do the Hateful Eight. I'm going to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood now. That's Quentin Tarantino's most recent one, released in 2019. I think I did see this in 2020, maybe 2021. So it has been a while since I've seen it. So I think I'm just going to do another plot reading for this. I'm going to try to attempt to explain the plot as best I can beforehand. I don't think I'll be able to do a very good job at it. But it does involve an alcoholic actor in Hollywood. Um, and it involves, I remember just from reading about the film, the Charles Manson murders and the actor getting tied up with Charles Manson and the Manson murders, from what I can remember just from reading about the film before it came out. Um, this is another really good one from him. I'm just going to read the plot here and then remember it as I'm reading, as in the other discussions here. Um, so, in February 1969, Hollywood actor Rick Dalton, star of 1950s TV Western series Bounty Law, fears his career is fading, with his recent roles being guest appearances as villains. His agent, Marvin Schwartz, advises him to make spaghetti westerns in Italy, which Dalton considers beneath him. Dalton's best friend and stunt double, Cliff Booth, a war veteran who lives in a trailer with his pit bull, Brandy, drives Dalton around due to his DUI arrests and driver's license suspension. So I think Dalton is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and then his driver and friend and stunt double, Cliff Booth, is played by Brad Pitt. That's based on my memory there. But I will name all the actors at the end also. So he drives Dalton around due to his DUI arrest and driver's license suspension. Booth struggles to find stunt work because of rumors he murdered his wife. Oh, shoot. Actress Sharon Tate and her husband, director Roman Polanski, have moved next door to Dalton. That's the alcoholic actor there who is being driven around by Brad Pitt's character. Dalton dreams of befriending them to revive his career. Okay, so if you don't know about the Charles Manson murders, Sharon Tate and her husband, director Roman Polanski, they were both murdered by Charles Manson. So Dalton, this character here, has moved next door to them. Um, that night, Tate and Polanski attend a celebrity-filled party at the Playboy Mansion. The next day, Booth recalls a sparring contest. This is Brad Pitt's driver slash stuntman character here. Recalls a sparring contest he had with Bruce Lee on the set of The Green Hornet. I do remember that scene, that was interesting, resulting in Booth's firing. Meanwhile, Charles Manson stops by the Polanski residence to looking for Terry Melcher, who used to live there but is turned away by Jay Sebring. I don't know who that is. Jay Sebring. Thomas John Kummer, also known professionally as Jay Sebring, was an American celebrity hairstylist and the founder of the hairstyling corporation Sebring International. Okay, he was also murdered by members of the Manson family along with his ex-girlfriend, Shannon Tate. Shoot. So he was killed in that also. So that really stinks. I'm sorry to hear about him being killed also there. Terry Melcher, an American record producer who was instrumental in shaping the mid to late 1960s California sound and folk rock movements. His best known contributions were producing the Byrds' first two albums, Mr. Tambourine Man and Turn, Turn, Turn. So he might have been killed also by Manson there. Um, okay. He is known for his collaborations with the Bruce Johnston and for his association with the Manson family. So Bruce Johnston is an American singer, musician, and songwriter who is a member of the Beach Boys. Okay, I have listened to them before. He has also collaborated on many records with Terry Melcher and composed the 1975 Barry Manilow hit "I Write the Songs." I'm wondering how Melcher is associated with the Manson family here. Melcher was the only child of actress-singer Doris Day. His father was Day's first husband, Al Jordan, and he was adopted by her third husband, Martin Melcher. Most of his early recordings were with the vocalist for Facts, records in Bruce and Terry. Doesn't say anything about Manson yet, so I'm going to a Manson family here. In 1968, Beach Boy Dennis Wilson introduced Melcher to ex-con and aspiring musician Charles Manson. Manson and his family had been living in Wilson's house at 1400 Sunset Boulevard after Wilson had picked up hitchhiking Manson family members Patricia Krenenkiel and Ella Jo Bailey. Wilson expressed interest in Manson's music and also recorded two of Manson's songs with the Beach Boys. For a time, Melcher was interested in recording Manson's music as well as making a film about the family and their hippie commune existence. Manson met Melcher at 1050 Cielo Drive, the home that Melcher shared with his girlfriend, actress Candice Bergen, and musician Mark Lindsay. Manson eventually auditioned for Melcher, but Melcher declined to sign him. There was still a talk of a documentary being made about Manson's music, but Melcher abandoned the project after witnessing Manson fighting with a drunken stuntman at Spahn Ranch. Wilson and Melcher severed their ties with Manson, a move that angered Manson. Soon after Melcher and Bergen moved out of the Cielo Drive home, the house's owner, Rudy Alto Bailey, then leased it to film director Roman Polanski and his wife, actress Sharon Tate. Manson was reported to have visited the house on more than one occasion asking for Melcher, but was told that Melcher had moved. On August 8th, 9th, 8th and 9th, August 8th, on August 8th through 9th, 1969, the house was the site of the murders of Tate, who was 8 months pregnant at the time, coffee heiress Abigail Folger, hairdresser Jay Selbring, writer Wojciech Friowski, and Stephen Parent by members of the Manson's family. Some authors and law enforcement personnel have theorized that the Cielo Drive house was targeted by Manson as revenge for Melcher's rejection, and that Manson was unaware that he and Bergen had moved out. However, family member Charles Tex Watson stated that Manson and company did, in fact, know that Melcher was no longer living there, and Melcher's former roommate, Mark Lindsay, stated, Terry and I talked about it later, and Terry said Manson knew Melcher had moved because Manson or someone from his organization left a note on Jerry's porch in Malibu. At that time, Melcher was producing singer Jimmy Boyd's music for A&M Records. After initial tracks were recorded, the Manson murders occurred, reportedly prompting Melcher to go into seclusion, and the session was never completed. When Manson was arrested, it was widely reported that he had sent his followers to the house to kill Melcher and Bergen. Manson family member Susan Atkins, who admitted her part in the murders, stated to police and before a grand jury that the house was chosen as the scene for the murders to instill fear into Terry Melcher because Terry had given us his word on a few things and never came through with them. Melcher took to employing a bodyguard and told Manson prosecutor Vincent Bugliosi that his fear was so great that he had undergone psychiatric treatment. Melcher was described as the most frightened of the witnesses at the trial, even though Bugliosi assured him that Manson knew you were no longer living on Cielo Drive. In his 2019 book, Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s, Tom O'Neill re examined the Manson case and found evidence Melcher may have been more closely involved with the Manson family than he admitted at trial. In revealing police files and other data, O'Neill found evidence Melcher was associating with Manson after the Tate LaBianca murders, before Manson's arrest 4 months later. These documents, seemingly hidden by Bugliosi, undermine claims that the Tate murders were intended to frighten Melcher in revenge for his refusal to record Manson's music. O'Neill also found documents indicating Melcher was having sex with 15-year-old Manson family member Ruth Ann Morehouse. Dean Morehouse, Ruth Ann's father, and a Manson family member also had resided at 1050 Cielo Drive with Melcher. Tex Watson would frequently visit the residence. Later years, Melcher again acted as a producer for the Byrds on the Ballad of Easy Rider, their eighth album released in November 1969. This just goes more into Melcher and his career here. Um, Here, most will find this producer's daydream sterile at best and noxious at worst. But I like the song about his shrink, and am fascinated by his compulsion to defend his Manson connections. With the requisite show of wealth and taste, he insists that he's only a spectator. Why he wouldn't even know about the hand jive if it weren't for Soul Train. Alternate title, It's Alright Mom, Only Watching. Melcher co-produced the cable show Dorsey's Best Friends. This talks more about his career here. Okay, so I know who Melcher is now. He's a musician who's connected to Manson. I did not know that about the Manson murders. I knew about Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate, but they were just unlucky. I guess to live there because Manson was sending out a message to Melcher that he was very angry with him for denying him his music career, essentially. So that is very sad. And I'll continue with this discussion of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood here. So Charles Manson, I don't know why he went that far. I mean, he seemed like a good musician. I don't know why he just didn't go to someone else to get his music approved. Not worth killing someone over, let alone several people. Ugh. Um, um, So anyway, who used to live there, but it is turned away by Jay Sebring. I'll go back just a bit here. Okay, so you have Booth and you have Dalton. Dalton is a struggling alcoholic actor. He has a stuntman named Booth who is driving him around due to a DUI. Booth is also having some trouble finding some roles as he's also rumored to have murdered his wife. So we learned that Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski have moved next to Dalton. Okay, so that's there. The next day, Booth recalls. We'll read this again here. Now that I know who Melcher is and why Manson committed those murders. So the next day, Booth, the stuntman and driver, recalls a sparring contest he had with Bruce Lee on the set of The Green Hornet, resulting in Booth's firing. Meanwhile, Charles Manson stops by the Polanski residence looking for Terry Melcher. He used to live there, but is turned away by Jay Sebring. As Tate runs errands, she stops at the Sharon Tate. As Sharon Tate runs errands, she stops at the Fox Bruin Theater to watch herself in The Wrecking Crew. Okay, so that's a spy comedy film. Dalton is cast as the villain in the pilot for the TV western Lancer and strikes up a conversation with 8-year-old co-star Trudy Fraser. During filming, Dalton struggles to remember his lines and suffers a breakdown in his trailer. He subsequently delivers a strong performance that impresses Fraser and the director Sam Wanamaker. Okay, so Dalton delivers a good performance for a job that he gets. I do remember that breakdown too. It is about his drinking there. He subsequently delivers a strong performance that impresses Fraser and the director Sam Wanamaker. Booth, the stuntman and driver, picks up a hitchhiker, in quotes here, Pussycat, and takes her to Spawn Ranch, where he once worked on the set of Bounty Law. He observes the many hippies living there. Suspecting they may be taking advantage of the ranch's elderly owner, George Spahn, Booth insists on checking on him despite, quotes here, Squeaky's objections. So Squeaky is another hippie there. Yeah, okay, so Squeaky is also known as Lynette Alice Fromm, an American who is a member of the Manson family, a cult led by Charles Manson. Though not involved in the Tate LaBianca murders, for which the Manson family is best known, she attempted to assassinate President Gerald Ford in 1975. Ugh, what are these people thinking? Booth speaks with the nearly blind Spahn, who dismisses his concerns. Upon leaving, Booth discovers that Clem, in quotes here, okay, so Clem, an American convicted murderer and former member of the Manson family, he was released from prison in 1985, has punctured a tire on Dalton's car. Booth beats Clem and makes him change the tire. Text, in quotes here, also known as Charles Denton Watson, an American murderer who is a central member of the Manson family, led by Charles Manson. On August 9th, 1969, Watson, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Susan Atkins murdered pregnant actress Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, Wojciech Frykowski, apologies there, Frykowski, Abigail Folger, and Stephen Parent at 1050 Cielo Drive in Benedict Canyon, Los Angeles. The next night, Watson traveled to Los Feliz, Los Angeles, and participated in the murders of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. I don't know about these. Um, I won't go too much into those either, but Watson was convicted of murder in 1971 and sentenced to death as a result of a 1972 California Supreme Court decision on the constitutionality in the state of the death penalty. He avoided execution but has remained incarcerated ever since. Ugh, yikes. Um, okay, so Tex is summoned to deal with the situation but arrives as Booth is driving away. After watching Dalton's guest performance on an episode of The FBI, Schwartz books him as the lead in Sergio Carbucci's spaghetti western Nebraska Jim. Dalton takes Booth with him for a 6-month stint in Italy, during which he films 3 additional movies and marries Italian starlet Francesca Capucci. By the end of their stay, Dalton can no longer afford Booth's services. Okay, so Dalton is doing a bit better here. He has another gig as the lead in a spaghetti western, Nebraska Jim. Dalton takes Booth with him, his driver, for a 6-month stint in Italy, during which he films 3 additional movies and marries Italian starlet Francesca Capucci. By the end of their stay, Dalton can no longer afford Booth's services. Returning to Los Angeles on August 8th, 1969, Dalton and Booth go out for drinks to commemorate their time together, then go back to Dalton's house. Meanwhile, Tate and Sebring go out for dinner with friends, then return to Tate's house. Booth smokes an LSD-laced cigarette purchased earlier and takes Brandy for a walk while Dalton prepares drinks. Tex, Sadie, and these are more murderers from the Manson family. Susan Denise Atkins, also known as Sadie, was an American convicted murderer who was a member of Charles Manson's family. Manson's followers committed a series of 9 murders at 4 locations in California over a period of 5 weeks in the summer of 1969. Katie, in quotes here, also known as Patricia Diane Krenwinkel, is an American convicted murderer and former member of the Manson family. During her time with the Manson group, she was known by various aliases such as Big Patty, Yellow, Marnie Reeves, and Mary Ann Schott. But to the family, she was most commonly known as Katie. And Flower Child, here, Linda Kazabian, an American woman known for being a member of the Manson family, a cult led by Charles Manson in late 1960s, early 1970s, California. She was present at both the Tate and LaBianca murders committed by the cult in 1969, but received immunity for her testimony as a key witness in District Attorney Vincent Bugliosi's prosecution of Manson and his followers. Okay. So Dalton has some good gigs here. They both go to Italy, both Dalton and Booth. Dalton and his driver there. Dalton marries an Italian starlet, Francesca Capucci. And by the end of their stay, Dalton states that he can't afford Booth anymore, which is strange because he's gotten more work, so I don't know why that is, but maybe he's just lying. I don't know. Returning to Los Angeles on August 8th, 1969, Dalton and Booth go out for drinks to commemorate their time together, then go back to Dalton's house. Meanwhile, Tate and Sebring go out for dinner with friends, then return to Tate's house. Booth, the stuntman and driver, smokes an LSD-laced cigarette purchased earlier and takes Brandy for a walk. That's his dog. And while Dalton prepares drinks. These people here, Tex, Sadie, Katie, and Flower Child, the Manson murderers, arrive outside in preparation to murder everyone in Tate's house. But Dalton hears the car's muffler and orders them off the street. Recognizing him, and he orders them off the street. He doesn't know who these people are. He just orders them off the street as their muffler is making a really loud noise and it's bothering him. Recognizing him, the four change their plans and decide to kill him instead. After Sadie reasons that Hollywood has taught them to murder, Flower Child deserts them, speeding off with their car. Breaking into Dalton's house, they confront Booth and Capucci, who is Dalton's wife from Italy, the Italian starlet. Tex aims his pistol at Booth. Now tripping on the LSD, Booth chats with the intruders, remembering them from the Spawn Ranch. Booth signals Brandy to attack Tex. Sadie lunges at Booth with a knife. Booth throws a can at her face and signals Brandy to attack her. Capucci punches Katie and runs away. Katie drives at Booth after he fights and kills Tex. Realizing that Sadie's knife is stuck in his thigh, Booth kills Katie by smashing her face against household decor, crushing her skull, then passes out. Sadie stumbles outside into the pool, firing Tex's pistol. Dalton, floating in the pool, listening to music on headphones, oblivious to the chaos inside, is alarmed. He retrieves a flamethrower retained from the 14 Fists of McCluskey and incinerates Sadie. 14 Fists of McCluskey, films of Rick Dalton. Okay, so anyway, and incinerates Sadie. Booth later regains consciousness and is taken away in the ambulance. And Severing and Tate invite Dalton over for a drink, which he accepts. A post-credit scene shows Rick Dalton in his role of Jake Cahill doing a commercial for Red Apple cigarettes, a fictional brand created by Tarantino that appears in several of his movies. So, learned a lot of sad facts here that I didn't know much about. I knew about the Polanski murders and the Tate murders carried out by Manson. I wasn't quite aware that he used members of his commune, so to speak, to do that. I thought he did that himself. I did learn about Melcher, so I do feel bad for both Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate, as they didn't deserve to be murdered whatsoever. Melcher didn't deserve to be murdered either. Obviously, he was probably right to fire Manson or refuse him work rather. I mean, Melcher was having sex supposedly with one of Manson's family members who was 15, but that is still no reason to kill someone. And it isn't even the right person to kill. If you're going to take revenge there, I don't know why he would kill the people just living at their house, their former house, Melcher's house there. So Manson, I don't think he even had a brain cell in his head there. So I'm glad he went to prison. But an interesting film that I think his main purpose was to sort of give some sort of credence to Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski um, by having this stunt driver character kill these idiotic commune members who perform these murders. Um, and interesting film. Really liked it. Very good. Another really good film by Tarantino, and I highly recommend this one too. So that's my discussion of Quentin Tarantino and his films. I ended on a dark one there, but it's his most recent. Um, Learned more about the Manson murders. I'm just so sad that that happened. Um, but yeah, I'm just trying to think here. I'm glad that film was made, and I really do credit Tarantino for making that. It's a really good film, and I highly recommend it. Thank you for listening to all of the reviews I have done on Tarantino, and he's an awesome director, If you haven't watched him before, check out his films. And yeah, hopefully Kill Bill 3 will be made. If not, he does have another film on Wikipedia that is being announced. But really good director. And yeah, I'm glad that I discussed all of his films here. Um, so thanks for listening. Feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you would like. Um, and yeah, that's it there. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.